Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here at coinpressdaily, where we look at the daily crypto news and provide opinion and analysis of the global crypto market. And today we are looking at this headline: Fed balance sheet nears $6 trillion and Bitcoin breaks 7k, and what that means and what that could mean. And we're also going to be looking at the Bitcoin chart and have a little chat about what we think might be happening. So as we can see, this is about the Federal Reserve balance sheets, and as we know already, that the US have been printing an enormous amount of money to cover the losses because of this coronavirus causing a financial market crash, and we already know that there was 2 trillion, but now we're going up. Well, they're saying the Federal Reserve balance sheet just hit a new record, increasing to a massive 5.86 trillion. And we've already said this before. We looked at in another video, and we talked about how traditional currency can be devalued by the country, by a body, by a bank, and how cryptos are more safe because they can't be manipulated by anyone. So, what do we think is going to happen? I mean, how do you think this is making people feel? Well, certainly, we can talk a couple of things about this. One, obviously, it's clearly devaluing and going to cause an enormous amount of inflation because of this. But also, where's all this money coming from? And that's another kind of ethical question of when the governments, and it's happened in the UK as well, certainly when we had the Conservative government and the DUP showed up, and the Conservatives paid them off like 1 billion or something like that, and we're thinking, well, hang on a minute, everyone's saying there's no money, where's all this money coming from? So, well, as we can see here, Andrew Yang, where did we get 2 trillion? The American people are catching on. Obviously now that's gone up to nearly $6 trillion. So this is, clearly not necessarily the best approach. Personally, I don't think that's the best approach. And, the UK is definitely having a different approach. Those who live in the UK will know we've got kind of people are getting the whole 80% of salaries covered, and there's all sorts of different ways of applying for various things. Granted, that doesn't cover everybody, so it's not ideal. Now, Bitcoin, time to shine. So in this article, they go on to say that obviously the coronavirus has caused this depression. But they're saying, Bitcoin breaks 7k. It looks as if smart money is already catching on, and because of the US balance sheet is crazy at the moment, is this putting more positive spin on Bitcoin? We already talked about that before in a couple of videos ago, where we were saying that obviously that electronic payments, and because it's decentralized, it can't be manipulated, it's going to become a stronger currency. Now, let's go and take a look at the charts today for Bitcoin. Obviously, they're talking about this 7k mark, and we've mentioned this 7k mark before, but is it significant? Is it going to, where's Bitcoin going? Are we going to be pushing up? Are we still very much in a global depression? Well, I think it is safe to say we are definitely in a global depression right now, certainly financially, and we've seen that in the stocks. The stocks have kind of balanced themselves out again, but certainly people are still very much have lost capital on those investments at the moment. So let's go and take a look at the Bitcoin chart. So I showed this chart in a couple of videos ago when we were talking about again, this sort of 7k level, and what could happen in the long term, what could happen in the short term. We also talked about the Bitcoin halving. That was a couple of videos ago. So what does that mean? Is that going to be a positive? When's that going to happen? What's that going to cause? So if you haven't seen it already, go and check out that video. But I won't get too much into that. We're just going to be looking at this chart about Bitcoin today and the 7K level. So as we can see, this was back here on March the 12th. March the 12th was the big significant red candle that took us all the way from 8K all the way down to 4.5, and we went down even further. We can see with the wicks that we went down even further. And we were always looking at, this was our peak here at 10, just below sort of 10.5, just below it. We needed to get higher than 10.5 because that was our last sort of high here. So we never really broke up, and there was not really enough momentum to push it further up. So if we look out, we can quite clearly see this downtrend, and we are still in a bear market. No matter what anybody says, we are not confirmed bull. Whilst there was this run here, and if you made a trade on that, then that would have been absolutely amazing. But we're still very much in the whole bigger picture on a downtrend. So let's take a look at where we are now. And what I did a couple of videos ago is we looked. I drew these lines here to create sort of a channel, and this is a daily chart. We're just looking, in the short term. And whilst we had this huge decrease in price on 12th of March, we kind of rallied back up again. And I drew this channel, and we drew. If you can look at just looking at the trends and just seeing how things are reacting. Now this for, if people haven't, maybe if you haven't got these lines here, for this, people are looking at, oh great, look, Bitcoin's on its way back up again. Think big picture, but also think short term. This was the trend here, and you can see that these wicks all line up beautifully. As we didn't quite reach the top here, and then on March the 28th, we broke below this trend line. So, what does that mean? Well, it's all about support and resistance in the charts. That is how it works. Key levels will be there for support to push Bitcoin higher, but they'll also be there as resistance. It'd be a level where Bitcoin will push up to, or whatever we're trading in. This is in all charts, whatever it's pushing at, but can't quite break through. And what's happened is we've broken out of this trend. And if we look at this green candle here on the 2nd of April, look where the wick touches. If we just zoom in a little bit and have a look at where the wick touches. The wick on the April 2nd candle touches beautifully at this line here, which was at the 7.277k mark. And this obviously is getting people excited. Oh, we've broken the 7k. That was kind of our resistance. So that's where we want to get to. This is only a wick. We really want the body of the candle to be up there, and that's not happened. And now we've just sort of been leveling off, and we've just been sitting at this level. Where are we at now? What's it saying? 6,792, and that's kind of lining up with these candles here. So this is a clear resistance point. If we go back in the charts, it was support back here. So it's really key level, and it's going to take quite a lot to push us any higher. And if we look at our stochastic RSI, we're at the top. We're starting to curve downward, which could mean that we're going to see more downside. And typically, if you're in a bear market, we're going to test a lower low. So where would that lower low be? Well, we're probably looking at 3k. We're looking at 3k. So if we kind of zoom out a bit here, our last big sort of decline happened over in November into December, and we bottomed out right here at 3275, and so we kind of averaged in the middle here at about 3.5k or so, 3,600. So this is probably the next level we want to think about. But as we said before, we talked about the 200-week moving average, and that Bitcoin's never broken underneath it. If you haven't seen that, go and check out that video, and that will explain everything. But for now, we know short term, we've broken this trend. More likely than not, our stochastic RSI is going to come down, our price is going to come down, and we're going to test 5,800. We're going to test 4,900-ish as well, and maybe even lower. But like I said, we're not, fingers crossed anyway. Like I said, I'm not any kind of financial advice or anything. This is just reading the charts and kind of my opinion on what's happening, but more than likely we're going to come down, and this is an exciting opportunity for Bitcoin as well, to be buying in for Bitcoin, because we're at this low level. There's a lot of fear within the market. Now we also want to have a look at this 50-day moving average. So this is the other option that might happen. We might end up going and testing this 50-day moving average. But again, let's look back. We're still on a daily chart here, and if we look back to the 50-day moving average, when we're above the 50-day moving average, things are looking great. Things look really good for the future, for the foreseeable. Again, if we come over here, we got above the 50-day, and look at that. I mean, that's huge rally, all the way up from 3,000 to 14,000. But if we look at when we are underneath the 50-day moving average, things are not so good. And we can see that we tested here. This is back, like I say, this is back beginning of 2019. We tested it, we came down, we stayed under and tested it, and we got over eventually, and then held it as support, and then we went on the bull run. So what's happened recently, if we just move over to this chart here, we broke under the 50-day, held it as resistance only for a little bit. We only touched it once as resistance, or a couple of times here, and then we broke above and moved up, and then we've broken under. We can see right here we have resistance on the 50-day. Now, yes, we had this huge crash here that was also down to coronavirus as well, but it was really kind of to be expected that we're going to move down. And judging by the movement of price action with Bitcoin at the moment, yes, we are driving up, but let's just extend that 50-day kind of roughly in the same direction that it's sort of in now. How's that look? Yeah, so that's all right. So sure, maybe in a couple of days we could rally up to 7,200, but again, that kind of lines up with our peak here on the wick, and more likely than not, because of what we've seen before, we're probably going to be rejected by that 50-day. It's really steep at the moment, and that lots of people are selling, so naturally we can expect price to go down and continue to go down for a while. If we stay on that 200-week moving average, then we're probably all right. We probably won't see any lower than this price down here, which was 4,000. But more likely we're going to stick in this probably around here, which is the 5k mark, where these bodies of the candles are. So what could this mean? What could happen? Whilst we've got people, Bitcoin breaks 7k, and it looks as if smart money is already catching on. Certainly, being in Bitcoin, to my mind anyway, looks like a safer currency to be involved in. No one can manipulate it. No one can print more money, change that, sort of devalue it in any way. But equally, right now, don't go throwing everything into Bitcoin, because we're still very much in that bear market, and it's still probably a while off, even though we've seen that cryptos are becoming more accessible to people. We're still a while off for mass adoption, and Bitcoin definitely needs that mass adoption in order to push that price higher. But we've got a lot of things in store. We've got the halving coming up. Who knows what that could do? Binance are pushing things with buying coin market cap, and obviously, the US dollar is being manipulated as we speak by the country. So all very, very interesting times. And also we're all very much, certainly in the UK, in America, we're all very much in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. And it's going to be a little while before we get ourselves out of it. And certainly will take, a good 5 years to recover. It's going to take a long time for the finances to bounce back. Granted, I do believe they will bounce back. They will be okay. So don't panic. Keep your cool. Some people might have lost a lot of money and things, but just stay level-headed and things will be fine. And certainly those the financial market will recover. But that's all really for this video. Let me know what you think, guys. What do you think about sort of my prediction here with Bitcoin? Are we going to just stick in this sort of level around here? Are we going to be driven lower, go below that 200 week, go down to sort of that 3K mark? Are we going to get there? What could that mean? Is that an exciting opportunity? Certainly, Bitcoin being at that level, you should be overjoyed almost if you're getting in at that level, given that we've been at that 10K level for a very, very long time. So just let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment in the comment section below, and also if there are any subjects maybe that you want covered and want some analysis or opinion on, then just leave a comment with that as well. I read them all. I'm also over on Twitter. You can find me here at coinpressdaily, and you can come and say hi, give me a tweet, and whatnot, as we do. And also, don't forget, obviously, you're seeing this video on YouTube, come and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, helps me out. Give the video a little like, and I'll continue making some more good content for you guys. So that's it for today. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you in another video.